let's embark on another fascinating journey. Here's Lilian Garcia.
Thank you for that intro. I really appreciate that. Week to week, you sound the same, and it's just with that same enthusiasm. Yeah, okay, it's pre-recorded. I get it. But, I love it. So thank you so much, and welcome to Chasing Glory. So exciting to be here because we have yet another amazing episode. Sean Gosser is here with me. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Lilian. Hello, world.
Hello. I love the fact. You know what? I want to start with this, with something that you mentioned to me last night. When we had our call preparing for the show, you mentioned that you love to hear all these stories, and how is it that they're impacting you?
Yeah, it just makes me appreciate where I'm at. And it's not to say that my life is so rosy or terrific, because I have things going on too, but, it puts things in perspective. Perspective is my dad's favorite word, and, you made me send out a text message the other night. I was pulling into my house and thinking about my family and thinking about how much I love them, and I had to send them a text message. So I sent them a family text message that was just, I love you, I appreciate you, thank you. And this show has really brought that to light for me. It will bring to light the things that you do have.
Yeah.
And
I love that you did that. Do you know that's probably, think about it. How many families really... we text all the time, right? And we text our friends all the time and everything. But the fact that you did a text thread to all the members of your family who are living in different parts of the world, and you said that to them, whoa. I mean, that doesn't happen enough. And I think it's a great idea. I love that.
It's just to take a break, Like, we all get so wrapped up in, like, our day-to-day and, like, I got to do this and I got to do that. But in the text message, I also said, like, look, like, it's dumb, or it sounds dumb to overstate this, but life is so short.
It is.
And, like, my parents are about to turn 60 this next year, and that means that my parents are going to start acting like senior citizens very soon, I'm going to start losing the parents that I've known my whole life very soon. And, obviously...
well, it shifts. It just shifts, just so you know.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just the way life is. They take care of you when you're young. You take care of them when you're old. And
it's tough, because that's what I've been doing for the last, 2 years, has been caretaker now for them. And man, is it challenging. But I thought about it this morning. I was like, I would love to know from anybody out there that has kids, because I don't have kids. And the caretaking that I've been doing, and now, the dogs are also involved in caretaking for them and everything too. I wonder, I'm like, man, how do people do this with children? I feel like it's a full-time thing, right? I mean, it is a full-time thing.
Single mothers are freaking superheroes.
Oh my God, especially. See, I don't know what I'd be without my husband helping me with this whole caretaking thing. And I wonder, is it easier with kids than older parents? Is it easier because they're not necessarily, kids aren't sick if you're not dealing with that? But then I think about some of those people that are dealing in the hospital, watching over their newborns, or if they're at St. Jude's Center or something with their child has got cancer. The pressure that they're going through, and they're like, man, I'm caretaking for my child who's 10 years old, I shouldn't be here. It's just tough, right? It's tough. But it also shows you what you're capable of, and what you get through. And like you said, then all of a sudden you go, okay, I do appreciate, let's start appreciating the good things and the good times and all that. And I love that you did that with your family. I don't love that. And when I say that, I don't want people to think that this show is going to be like so heavy every single time. Like, it's not, but it's conversations that we have to have, and things sometimes do get heavy, but from that comes what? Light, right? That we're helping each other out. Speaking of, so last week, Charlotte, wow. I mean, that was powerful. That was so powerful. I remember you and I got off the phone. We're like, whoa, what? And it was one of those things that I didn't know how much she had dealt with, or worked with Charlotte for many years, and I didn't even know, like, all the, domestic violence that she had dealt with, and she put it out there with the book. And then it's one of the reasons she was so emotional is the fact that the book has come out, and so it resurfaces everything, but also it's that how will people respond? Will people think that now I'm weak? Will they think that I'm playing victim? Will they think that, I mean, it's all these things, right? They go through your head because we do worry, no matter how much we say, don't worry about what the other people, thinks. We do. We kind of do. I mean, it's easier said than done. And so she put it out there, man, and I applaud her so much because the reception has been incredible all week long. The tweets, the Instagrams, all the posts that have been like, and she even, wrote me and she's like, wow, thank you. I had no idea that being that vulnerable would be so well received and would help so many other people. And that's what I told her. I said, by you doing this, you've helped millions, because there's millions of, I'm sure, and I hate to say that, but it's the fact, there's millions of people out there that are going through domestic violence or going through addiction, and her brother had an addictive personality and what it did to the family, and then him losing his life and what it's done for them. So I thank you, Charlotte, literally, for just being that real, raw, and definitely inspiring. And so that leads us to this week. Very excited, as this is my very first episode of doing From the Vault and Now. So let me explain to you what From the Vault and Now is. I had this podcast before. It was the same concept in the fact that I was doing these amazing stories of the road, the journey, but I had just a different name. It was on AfterBuzz TV. I gotta thank AfterBuzz again. I keep thanking them over and over, and the reason why is they literally gave me the platform to go from my transition of WWE into the podcast world. And then they led me here to Podcast One. And so I had this amazing interview with the beautiful, the powerful, the inspiring Natalya. And Natty really showed so much in her interview that I wanted to air it here. And that just kind of gave the idea that every month now I want to do From the Vault and Now, bring some of those interviews that I had over there and do the now part as an update. So what we're going to do is we're going to share with you the interview that we had with her. And then we're going to get her back on the call, and we're going to get her back on the show at the end of it and kind of just catch up as to from, the months ago when I did the interview with her, what's happened. And there has been things that have happened from her winning the championship again after a 7-year drought. I want to speak to her about that. She's been having this huge run with Charlotte. And she's now, Total Divas actually launches again on Wednesday. And we want to speak to her about that. There's just a lot of things that I want to touch on. So, guys, remember, right after this, the first part of the Vault interview, you're going to be hearing the now part right at the end of that. I want to remind you guys to make sure that you please follow me at Lilian Garcia, Instagram and Twitter, Lilian Garcia official fan page. And make sure that you subscribe, Apple Podcast, go to podcastone.com or Podcast One app. I want to speak about actually breast cancer. We're wrapping up with that. Thank you, everybody that participated in that this whole month, talking about how it impacts you and just the research that needs to continue, because 1 in 8 women are getting breast cancer. And it's just incredible. I mean, 1 in 8. And there's men, too, that are involved in this. Komen.org, KOMEN.org. And make sure you guys just take advantage of just your own health and get screened. Get screened. Next month, we're going to be going into Movember. Movember touches on prostate cancer. Now, it's just crazy how my mother is a 28-year survivor from breast cancer, and my father actually had prostate cancer. And I'll never forget, they told him he had like 2 years to live, and he ended up living over 30 years. So it is something that is curable. And we're going to be bringing attention to Movember and touching on the cancer that's hitting men. So, but what's so fun? Something that I started tweeting out this week, and I want to go ahead and let you guys know. I actually tweeted out as far as doing this little contest because it helps the show, people, and I want to get the word out. So I'm looking for ways to get you guys to write reviews. I love the reviews that you're writing to me when you tweet me, but I asked if there's a way that you could do both or just write them on Apple Podcasts because that does help the show. And so I decided that I wanted to thank you guys for doing that. So as a way of thanking you, we're going to be choosing winners. And all you have to do is write a review and then make sure that you tag your Twitter name on there so that I know who the heck we're rewarding it to. So,
or your Instagram name, if that's what you're on.
Yeah,
or your
true.
Facebook, if that's what you're on.
Exactly. Thank you for clarifying
Something
that.
for us to contact you with.
Yeah, check this out. I've got some memorabilia that I've had over the years, and I decided this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to gift it to you guys. So as I see some of these reviews, we're going to pull them out. And if you've got some reference to your Twitter name or Instagram or something like that, that way we can contact you, because otherwise we can't get the prize to you.
We got merch to give to you people.
We do.
We got Lilian merch.
Well, it's actually WWE merch for right now, but I am going to do 8x10s too, autographs.
Oh, nice.
So right now, I went ahead into my drawer and discovered 3 hats that I have. One of them is the visor from WrestleMania 21.
Nice.
I'm going to autograph that. One of them is the hat from WrestleMania 2000. Now, you can't buy these anymore. So this is kind of cool. And then the Raw from Monday Night Raw, the Raw hat. I was a host of Monday Night Raw. I think it was out of the 15 years, I believe it was 13 years that I did Monday Night Raw. Because I know I did like a couple years over at SmackDown. So, yeah, really cool. So anyway, I'm going to autograph those and then include an autographed 8x10 as a thank you. And the first one that I actually see is Thomas. So Thomas says, Lilian Garcia's lovely personality, aw, thanks, Thomas, and her ability to connect with her guest make every interview real, raw, and inspiring. I love it. So there we go. Thomas, I'm going to contact you on Twitter. I thank you so much for your review on that one. So we're going to pick you. Then if I go to my Twitter, I remember that there was another one that actually, yeah, you can screenshot. By the way, that was actually brilliant. Somebody that did that. They wrote a review and then they gave me the screenshot of it. So that way we definitely could find you. So that's Pedro. You just won. Pedro, you just won another hat. So he says, I love Lilian Garcia and her podcast is amazing. She's amazing. I love to hear her podcast while outside in the sun just listening. Amazing podcast. Lilian Garcia, great job with the podcast. I think he likes it.
I think so too.
I like it. All right. And thank you for the 5 stars, because again, that helps the show as well. So you're going to get a hat and also an 8x10. Okay. And one more. Each episode is inspiring and uplifting. Thank you, Lilian, for getting real with your guest. I always look forward to your next guest. I love that. So Cassandra, congratulations. So all 3 guys, I really appreciate it. Again, it's that simple. Just write a review, put your name on there as far as your handle, your Twitter or Instagram. That way we can reach out to you as a winner. And if you guys did already write a review and didn't do that, go back and do it again. Okay? We're not going to hold that against you. So I want everybody to have an opportunity. Because I love you guys so much. Like I said, it's going to be WWE merch. It's also going to be, I'm going to be giving, actually, outfits that I wore in the ring.
Nice.
Yeah. I have a whole closet full. Can I just tell you? I got a whole closet full. 15 years worth.
Well, 15 years worth of every week, multiple times a week.
Lord.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I got to do something. I've been like, what do I do with this? And I decided that's what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to definitely be signing some pieces over to you guys. And then also going to be doing one-on-one Skype. Like we're trying to get to 1,000 reviews. Like right now, that's our goal. 1,000 reviews. The 1,000, we're going to like be awarding like the 100 and the bigger prizes, right? The 100, the 200, the 300, all of that. And then the 1,000, we're going to do something really big. We're going to decide what that is.
I think it's just going to be like just the best outfit out of that closet.
It could be that, but
some
also how
really
about
memorable match.
How about too like a one-on-one Skype session with someone, and then that ends up on the show.
Oh, an Ask Lilian session. I like it.
There you go, an Ask Lilian section, or even I can ask them about a little bit, interview them about their life.
Nice.
Maybe a combination of both. So I think that would be fun.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're figuring it all out. Like I said, I'm giving away stuff. I love it. All right, so let's go into this. I think, this is the perfect transition. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's Natalya's journey of chasing glory. Born into pro wrestling royalty, Natty Neidhart is the daughter of the legend Jim the Anvil Neidhart and the niece of WWE Hall of Famer Bret the Hitman Hart. Inspired by her family, she became one of the last graduates of the Hart family dungeon, becoming the first woman to do so. Before entering the WWE, she wrestled all over the world, perfecting her craft, which led her to being signed by the WWE in 2007, where she began training in Deep South Wrestling before transferring to OVW and FCW. She made her main roster debut in April of 2008, where she began teaming with Victoria, and months later began accompanying her real-life boyfriend and future husband, Tyson Kidd. She would then form the Hart family dynasty with Tyson and her cousin, David Hart Smith, and led them to winning the WWE Tag Team Championship. At Survivor Series 2010, Natalya reached the pinnacle of the women's division by defeating Michelle McCool and Layla to become the WWE Divas Champion for the very first time. She also made history, along with Beth Phoenix, to be a part of the first ever women's tag team tables match. For the last few years, Natalya has served in a mentoring and leadership role, which includes having a Match of the Year candidate with Charlotte in NXT in 2014. In 2017, at SummerSlam, after a 7-year championship drought, Natalya defeated Naomi to become the SmackDown Women's Champion for the very first time. Natalya was a part of the inaugural cast of Total Divas and is only one of 3 cast members, along with the Bella Twins, to have been included in every season since its inception, where her beautiful wedding to her husband Tyson Kidd was showcased and seen by millions around the world. It's about to get real, raw, and inspiring with Natalya.
Natalya! Thank you so much for having me on.
Are you kidding me? This is so
I've been dying to do your show.
I know, and I appreciate that. And I know that we've been going back and forth on schedules. I'm busy, but you're like mega busy.
I feel like I do this to myself. I actually really like being busy. I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's good because I just, you feel fulfilled at the end of the day when you're exhausted and your head hits the pillow and you feel accomplished. So I feel like that.
And I've seen you all the time backstage. I'll see you with your phone and you're like tweeting and Instagramming and texting people, and it's just
I started writing 2 columns as well for the Calgary. I'm writing a national newspaper column for the Calgary Sun newspaper, which is distributed across 7 different newspapers in Canada.
Wow.
The Calgary Sun, the Edmonton Sun, the Vancouver Sun, the Toronto Sun. It's crazy.
What are you writing about?
Anything. It's like 1-page column, and it's getting rave reviews, and I'm allowed to use a picture, and I have the entire page every single week in this national newspaper to write about whatever I want, like Carrie Bradshaw.
That is amazing.
And then I'm also writing a column for OK Magazine.
That is great.
Yeah. So, and I love writing. I've always loved writing. When I was young and in school, I got a letter from Bill Clinton as a Presidential Fitness Award for writing, and so writing's always been one of my passions. But these 2 columns have been great because they've made me realize that I'm really good at something else besides just headlocks and drop kicks.
And isn't that something? Your life has been around wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been 100% wrestling. So it's been great, I'm sure, for you to have another avenue. I think it's very important to diversify yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Now we're backstage at SmackDown. We're in this little quiet NBA. It's the NBA interview room.
It's great.
It's funny. I'm seeing the backdrop. It's the Orlando Magic backdrop. But I grabbed Natty to do this because I've been so amazed by your whole career, and I've worked with you for so many years. And then there's aspects of you that I have no clue about. But I want to also talk about. It's 2 days after WrestleMania. I mean, you not only gave such a beautiful speech for Beth Phoenix and had such a beautiful moment at Hall of Fame, and then you got to be a great, amazing moment as well at WrestleMania.
Right.
How's this whole weekend been for you?
It's been great. I mean, it's been overwhelming. And I was talking to my mom this morning, and I was like, it's like this roller coaster, and I'm now starting to get off the roller coaster from last week's events because WrestleMania is our biggest show of the year. And so last week I was inducting Beth, so I worked like tirelessly on her speech. I would wake up in the middle of the night and something would just come to me, and I'd write it down, and like, oh, I got to make sure I get that in. I got to make sure I get this in. And I just wanted to do her justice. And because, thank you. And I really thought, I mean, I'm very biased, of course, but I really thought Beth stole the show.
Her speech was beautiful.
I just thought I thought she stole the show. Kurt Angle obviously was phenomenal.
Yes.
But remember, I'm biased.
Yeah.
And I love Kurt Angle. He's like an inspiration to me. But I just felt like, nobody really knew that Beth could talk like that. No one really knew how eloquent and poised she really is. And I've known this my whole time being friends with her. But she just... people, even Stephanie McMahon was like, I didn't know you and Beth were that close.
I didn't either. And you know that was so crazy? As I worked with both of you for so many years, I didn't know you were that close. I thought you were kind of inducting her because of you guys worked together.
No, she said that
team, and
she said that she didn't want anyone else to induct her but me. And I was thinking, like, well, I thought she would have wanted her husband to induct her, and like she said no. She's like, you were my best friend on the road, and we, worked together, and just had this. We were like sisters, and we still are. And I text Beth multiple times a day. We keep in touch. We visit each other. We are very much a big part of each other's lives. I did her makeup for her wedding.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I just
for all of you that don't know, she is amazing doing makeup. You are incredible.
I love makeup.
So many of the girls will sit here in the locker room and be like, "Do you have a minute? Can you do my makeup?"
I love makeup. It's like it's one of my passions. It's like an art. It's a form of art.
Art, yeah.
But yeah, so Beth, I think people were just blown away by her and just what she said, but also, Stephanie McMahon said, she goes, I never knew you guys had this connection with Owen either. Like, the fact that he brought us together.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Beth, like that was the thing, that whole story about her DMing me on MySpace. I thought she was kind of a fan. And so I was like, you get messages from fans, and I always am very flattered by fan messages, and she was just, saying that she tried to find out how she could train in the dungeon, but then the dungeon had closed down, but she only wanted to be trained by my family. And then she's like, but your uncles, they're the reason why I do this. It was that match at Madison Square Garden, WrestleMania 10, Brett versus Owen. And so I was like, wow, this is really cool. But then I finally met her, and she was in OVW, and I was like, wow, this girl's like the real deal. And then through the 10 years that I've known her, it's always been the same thing. It's just, your uncles have been my reason. Your uncles have been my inspiration.
Yeah.
So Owen, we really feel like Owen was a big part in bringing us together.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Yeah, there's always a silver lining to everything, right? With the connections and all, and just how his spirit can still live.
Yes.
Through.
And it was so incredible, the reception that Owen got at the Hall of Fame when we brought his name up.
Oh yeah, for sure. By the way, how's Brett doing? He's completely healed
from cancer, but cancer, I mean, it's like, I'll forever be indebted and grateful to Brett for coming to be by my side at that pay-per-view after WrestleMania. Dealing with just having beaten cancer. He had just had surgery like a couple months prior, not even like 2 months, like 6 weeks. And he didn't feel good at all. Cancer, as you know, because you've dealt with it firsthand, it really just takes so much out of people. And I could see that it had taken a lot out of Brett. And not just physically, but emotionally. And he was by my side for that match. And he didn't feel good, but because he was still recovering, but he was there for me, and I will always remember that. And I think really the last year, he's just been kind of getting his sea legs back, because it was a lot what he endured.
Absolutely.
And it was very scary for him.
Yeah, but it's mentally, emotionally.
And I could tell he was really scared by everything.
I should say mentally, physically, yeah.
Mentally, physically. It scared him so much. And, cancer really doesn't run in our family. Our family doesn't really have that much of a history with it. And so Brett really wanted to use his situation with cancer as a platform to help others that are going through the same thing. And so what's funny is that after Brett announced that he had cancer, there was a surge, and they did a story on it actually in the paper and on the news. There was a surge. Thousands of men across the province of Alberta, where Brett lives, went to get checked for prostate cancer. And they did a special on the news saying that it was Bret Hart that helped raise so much awareness by coming forward about his cancer. So all these men were going just to get checked. Yeah. And it's really about the power of prevention. And Bret had said to me, before he ever announced that he had prostate cancer, he said, I don't really know whether I want to announce this or not. I just want to keep it to myself. This is something that I just don't want to discuss with it. It was very private. And then he realized that by speaking about it, he could help others.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of person that Bret is. He wants to be able to pay it forward. Right. And that he did.
And make a difference.
Yeah.
And then it makes sense in a way.
Yes.
I mean, he got it because now who knows how many people he's saved.
Yeah,
how many
absolutely.
Other men that have gone out there and gotten checked, and then it's like, if it wasn't for Bret, my life would be, and it trickles down because it affects the family and all of that.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yes, yes.
Wow, kudos to him for having the bravery for that. Now, you guys are like, wow, the Hart family is talk about brave. I mean, you just... growing up, like I know it's natural. I mean, you're just a Hart, but do you look back now and go, wow, I really was able to be in a very special family, and I'm grateful for that, or was it harder because of that?
I think as I've grown older, I've realized just how special my family is. When you're young, you kind of take it for granted, and you don't realize, like, when your uncles are Bret the Hitman Hart and Owen Hart and the British Bulldogs, my dad's on TV, and my grandfather's, now a WWE Hall of Famer, Stu Hart. Like, when I was around them when I was a little kid, they were just my uncles. They were just, it's just my dad. It's just my grandpa. It's just, and then as I've grown older, I've realized that, like, my family is extremely special and really iconic in this wild, wonderful world of WWE.
Yeah.
And now I realize just how special they are, and I'm very, very proud of them. But I also admire the fact that we've been able to go through hell and come out alive.
What's hell?
Hell is going through physical injuries, like Bret going through cancer, or TJ breaking his neck, or my Uncle Owen, obviously he, his situation was very tragic, but our family has banded together and stayed together and worked through it, because when tragedy happens, you cannot move backward. You have to only move forward. And I've realized that I was talking to Dana Warrior, and she's a huge inspiration in my life. She's one of my good friends. And I was telling her about, some different things that I was going through, and, just having this really great talk with her. And she said to me when she lost her husband, she's like, I tried to go around it, I tried to go over it, I tried to go under it, and then I realized I just had to go through it.
Wow.
And so that's what I feel like. My family is just so resilient. Mm-hmm. We've had great triumphs, and we've had great tragedies, and we've suffered great loss, but we're still here.
Yeah.
We're still standing. We're still a loving, wonderful, caring family. We have our little moments where we don't always see eye to eye, but our family, we just keep going. Mm-hmm. That's all you can do, is just keep moving forward. And also, just one day at a time has helped me so much.
Right.
Because tomorrow is not promised. It's not promised to anyone. Mm-hmm. And you look at, for example, look at JR.
Yeah.
That broke.
Oh my gosh.
That broke my heart with everything that happened with his wife. And I just remember last year, his wife Jan and I were talking about our Louis Vuitton collection, and she always had the coolest Louis Vuitton, and we would just talk for hours about her love of pretty purses and shoes, and she just would we would just have these really fun conversations. She was just adorable.
Yeah.
And
for you guys listening, I just want to recap a little bit. JR, his wife, was actually, oh my God, what a beautiful human being. She was driving home in a Vespa on the way home from working out, and a 17-year-old kid hit her from behind as she was not wearing a helmet. And JR talks about how really feels like maybe that could have made a difference with all her head traumas. And I think that there's something really big here in that to tell people to definitely wear a helmet, no matter what.
Yep.
And I've fallen off a bike before and got a concussion. So it's even on a bicycle, definitely have a helmet on. But going back to Jan, she's just she was an amazing, and it was such a spirit. And hopefully JR will find out why this tragedy has happened.
Right.
But I just wanted to continue with your story.
No, I mean, I think that actually is very powerful that he could maybe help raise awareness and say, with this situation, I want to, let's talk about helmet safety. And
exactly.
I definitely think that's huge. And but I was saying that tomorrow was not promised. And so when I heard about, I remember when I heard the news from JR that he said, please pray for my wife on Twitter. She hadn't, she was still with us, and he said, please pray for my wife. This is very serious. And I just felt like I just felt so terrible. And I really it bothered me the whole night, and I just couldn't get my mind off of it. And I just kept on trying to DM him on Twitter and just JR, I'm thinking of you. And, because JR is a huge part of so many people in this world, in the wrestling industry's lives. And he's such a good person. And then I heard that, she passed away, and it was just my mom and my sister and I were together, and we all started crying. And I just thought, nobody knows. She probably was planning her trip to WrestleMania and getting excited and
probably had a dress, all of that.
And and she was JR's rock. She was his everything. So it just really, it was a reminder to me that when you think you're going through something, there's always somebody out there that's going through something worse, and that it's very important to count your blessings and to be grateful for every single solitary thing you have. And we're all human. We all can lose sight of that. I mean, I was freaking out over my WrestleMania costume. Is it going to be done in time? Am I going to have this? I want to look great when I walk down the ramp. And I'm like, it's just little moments where you're like, who cares?
Right.
Because that's not what's most important in life.
Yeah.
So those are things that help remind us that, life is precious.
Now, you are definitely speaking from a very mature place, from a very confident place, from someone that has, used life and is learning from it and all that. Let's go back. Let's go way back. You were born in Calgary.
Yep.
Right? What was life for you growing up as a kid?
I was born in Calgary, but my dad moved us when we were 3 years old. When I was 3 years old, my sisters and myself, my mom, moved us to Florida. And we lived in Florida, Tampa, Florida, for most of my childhood and to my early teens, because my dad was wrestling for different territories, and then he also ended up getting hired by WWE.
Yeah.
And so, my dad was part of the second WrestleMania, and he was in a battle royal where he and Brett were the last ones in with Andre the Giant.
Right.
And so it was just easier for my dad to commute out of Tampa. But I had a great childhood, although I didn't really get to spend much time with my dad because my dad was gone 300 days a year.
Yeah.
And so I actually feel like I never really knew my dad. I didn't really get to know him until I got older, and actually got to know him the best once I started wrestling, because then we had this common bond that we could share. But my dad was very much non-existent in my earlier years because he was just gone all the time. And when you're only home 60 days a year, my dad would be home so little that when he was home, he was just exhausted.
Right.
And so we always just tried to stay out of his way, and we would, do some things together as a family, but we also had to understand my dad was trying to recover so that he could get back on the road again. Mm-hmm. So I really felt like most of my youth, my dad didn't know anything about me. He didn't know what music I liked. He didn't know what my favorite color was. He didn't know who my friends were, he didn't know who I was.
Did that affect you?
I think your childhood has a huge effect on you. And I think it did affect me because I didn't really have a father figure in my life until, I was almost an adult. And I realized that I think there may have been even some animosity or anger that I didn't know about. It's funny because Alexa Bliss talked about, having an eating disorder and stuff. And this is the first time I've ever talked about this. Natty exclusive. But I had an eating disorder when I was 18, and it lasted for about, they say it never really goes away. But it spanned the course of about 3 years, and I went from 160 pounds, 160, in the course of 2 months after my Uncle Owen died. The summer that my Uncle Owen died, I lost 40 pounds in 2 months.
Oh my gosh.
And my family was really scared, and I remember being really angry at them and thinking, why are they confronting me? And they should be happy, I look great. And I didn't realize it until years later how crazy and scary I looked, losing that much weight, and I was wearing kids' clothes, and it was a really hard time for me, but I was reeling from the tragedy of like my uncle passing away and how that affected my family. And then also, I think because my dad wasn't really a part of my life because he was working and busy and gone, I think like some of that stuff from my childhood affected like I feel like I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but my eating disorder was a lot about control. Yes. I couldn't control anything else that was going on in my life, but I could control what I ate. Mm-hmm. And so I just
Did you have anorexia or bulimia?
Anorexia.
Anorexia.
Yeah.
Because I've talked about it as well on my podcast. I came out and said how I had eating disorders. Isn't it funny how we've worked with each other for so long, and in the locker room, whatever, we don't discuss these things, and now afterwards we're finding out that both of us went through eating disorder.
Well, and it's funny because I didn't know I had it at the time because I just thought that I was being healthy, and I realized looking back at photos and stuff, I was not healthy at all. Like I wasn't happy, and it was like this way I was trying to gain some control in my life. And you grow up without your dad around, and for me, I felt like I just feel like it was all centered around me trying to find some control. And then with my uncle passing away, that's when it really all started happening. Was when Owen had passed away, and I just felt like I don't know, something took charge of me, and it started out with a diet, and then I just didn't know how to stop. And I look back at pictures and it's crazy. It's crazy to see this person that I didn't recognize. And I remember my Uncle Brett actually sitting me down once, and he was like, "Are you okay? Because I'm really worried about you." Mm-hmm. And after that conversation with him, immediately after, I was so mad that I was like hurt that he would have that conversation with me and, ask me what was wrong. And, I felt like he was accusing me of doing something bad. And I just look back on it, it was just a really hard time in my life. And what actually turned the corner for me with that situation was wrestling. It was me starting to want to wrestle.
Wow.
And then
what sparked that? What happened?
Well, my cousins were part of a kids TV show that Eric Bischoff and Joey Styles and Mauro Ranallo were a part of.
Oh, wow.
And so they wanted I'm trying to think how to word this. They needed they needed a host for the show.
Yeah.
And so I was asked to host the show. And they thought, Natty's pretty and she's vibrant and she's bright and she's vivacious. Let's have her host it. And I was like, I don't have any experience in hosting a show. Well, don't worry about it. We'll teach you. So my cousins were all part of it. My cousin Teddy Hart and Harry Smith and TJ, who I wasn't obviously seeing at the time. But he was always around our family and always a part of our family. So he was excuse me, I'm just trying to...
It's okay.
It's hard for me to talk about the eating disorder because it makes me a little flustered because I've never shared it with anyone before.
Oh, so talk to me about that before we move on. I think
it's...
Are you scared of being judged?
You know what? I have just never shared it before.
Okay. And I appreciate you being...
But anyway, it was just a hard time for me in my life. But actually, that was when I was really in the throes of it, when they asked me to host the show. So if you ever see any footage back from that time, I was like 110 pounds. And for my frame, I have a lot of muscle on me, and that was just like, I was wearing kids size 16. Yeah. It was like maybe adult size 0.
Wow.
So you could imagine me being that thin.
Wow.
But
how does that make you feel right now, being able to share this?
It's a little bit liberating, and I actually have talked to Alexa Bliss about it, and I said, when she came forward and said that she had gone through this, I said, I just give you so much credit because it takes a lot of courage to talk about it, because since that happened, I just never ever shared that publicly with anyone. And
do you know why?
Because I don't know, it was just something that I just didn't want to have to relive. But then I also thought, again, like now that Alexa has talked about her situation, it made me really respect her more, because it's like, no, we can actually raise awareness and help teach young girls that going through something like this is very common. It's actually becoming a lot more common with body image and it's something that lots of people go through it, whether it's bulimia or anorexia or binge eating disorder.
It's like a secret killer, because and I've done a lot of research on this as well, because like I told you, I suffered for years from it. And then I had Tori Wilson on the podcast, and she talked about it as well. So here we are, 4 women so far, from WWE. I'm sure there might be more or whatever that I'm missing, but it is common. It's more common than people think, and I think it's important to talk about it because I volunteered at a center as well in LA, and I saw what's there and the torture that everybody's going through on a daily basis.
Right.
Why? Because if you're an alcoholic, it's still not easy, but you can avoid places where alcohol is served.
Right.
Food, we have to deal with it every day.
Right.
You have to confront it every single day.
Well, that's the problem, is that it's not like with alcohol or drugs, if that is your addiction, then you can abstain from it and go, I'm not going to have a drink, or I'm never going to do drugs. With food, you have to eat it, or you're going to die.
Yeah.
So for me, what really, with my eating disorder, what it was this extreme control of calories, and like it almost became like a game to see how I could manipulate and control my body with calories. Mm-hmm. And so I made these really extreme rules for myself that I could only eat this kind of food, and I wouldn't go out with friends. I wouldn't go out I would never go out to a restaurant. I would have to be home at a certain time of night. I was like really isolating myself to control what I ate. Mm-hmm. And then what happened was that I started getting so thin that I couldn't even really work out because I didn't have any energy. So once I started hosting Mat Rats, that was the name of the kids show, mm-hmm. I was asked to do a spot. Since I was hosting it, they were like, we need you to do a move to Jack Evans. And they wanted me to do like a Dragon Rana, which is like a move that, like a Rey Mysterio type move where I do a Hurricane Rana off the top rope onto somebody, and then mm-hmm. it's just a cool high spot. So I remember them needing me to go down to the dungeon and practice. And I remember I didn't know the difference because I hadn't taken a bump before. I just remember it hitting the mat really hurt me, but I liked the feeling of going down in the dungeon and trying this new adventure, which was wrestling.
Yeah.
And I was only 18 at the time, and it was just really fun. And long story short, I ended up falling in love with wrestling, and my wrestling ended up helping me getting into wrestling helped cure that eating disorder. And I never looked back. Once I fell in love with wrestling, I just realized, especially with the help of TJ, because TJ was my very first trainer, I wanted to do that, and I wasn't going to let food hold me back. And so slowly I started to kind of reintroduce myself to food, and I did put on some weight, because once you go from starving yourself to eating, you do gain weight. And so I'd gotten a little heavier, but I was happier. Yeah. And I was happier because I was pursuing a passion, which was wrestling.
Right.
And so it felt good that I was pursuing something fun like that, and I've never looked back. And to this day, I've always when they say when you have an eating disorder, it's always sort of at the back of your head. But for me, I agree with that. It does creep back into my head sometimes, but I also
look in the mirror, just always. It's almost like it's never satisfied.
Yeah, and especially being in entertainment, you want to look a certain way, you want to be a certain way. But for me, I've also learned to have boundaries and balance, and I eat healthy, but I still allow myself to enjoy life. Mm-hmm. And one thing that works for Natty, and it might not work for everyone else, but just what works for me is I don't weigh myself.
That's what they always say. Don't weigh yourself.
I don't like weighing myself. When we get weighed at WWE, I just don't ask. I tell them to please write down whatever number it is and don't tell me.
Why do they weigh you here?
They do that just for even for flights. They have to know certain weights for when they're if we're doing a group flight, they have to know everyone.
Flights.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Okay.
And I think it's just I think it's a health regulation that, within, they're always keeping on top of our health and our weights and our, just.
I guess, too, for them, if they see a dramatic 10-pound, 20-pound.
They see somebody gains or loses or, I don't really know why, but when I asked them once why they did it, they said they were doing it for charters, because they have to know. It makes it's like luggage, when you're going on a plane. But it's good for, if somebody's gained 30 pounds in a month, you're going to go, okay, is it really okay? And our company's really good at staying on top of stuff like that. So
now, you were here during a time where it seemed like all of the at the time called Elite Divas, female wrestlers were really tiny, right? You got here. Did that bother you? When you look and you compare?
It did bother me, because when I first came in, I remember when I first debuted, I remember confiding to Beth Phoenix. I was like, I just don't feel pretty enough or thin enough, or I'm not like the rest of the girls. It was just a little moment of insecurity, which is totally normal.
Of course it is.
And Beth really helped show me that being different and being strong is where it's at. Mm-hmm. And she was way ahead of her time with that. And she showed me that being strong and muscular, she goes, any girl can be skinny, but not any girl can be strong. And I remember being like, yeah, like not anybody can look like Serena Williams.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was like a real turning point for me, that it was okay that I was different. But nobody will notice that you're bigger than the rest of the girls if you walk out with confidence. And that's what Beth always taught me, whether she was up 5 pounds or down 5 pounds, she just exuded this confidence at all times. And so that really stayed with me, that confidence that she had and that poise. And so I started to really embrace that more and more and more. But, you know, I did debut at a time where we were just transitioning over from the Attitude Era to this, like, era of the Divas.
Right.
You know, so there were moments of insecurity. And listen, you're on TV. You have to look good.
Right.
Because if Mr. McMahon at 70 years old can work out at 3 o'clock in the morning, he expects the same from you.
Oh, yeah.
And he's ripped.
And we're not just saying that. I mean, literally, we'll go to the arena, or I mean, from the arena back to the hotel, and his trainer's waiting there.
Yeah, because that's how he operates.
Amazing.
So, you know, he expects...
The guy sleeps? I don't know.
Exactly. And he expects the same from us.
Yeah.
So I really try to keep that in mind. But I have a really good image of my body now, and I've just really learned to love myself over the last few years, and just really like accept who I am. And I actually feel more beautiful now than I've ever felt in my whole life.
Well, you were glowing is what it is. You just have this amazing glow about you.
Oh, thanks,
Lil. This confidence is come out. You are definitely owning who you are. And that does exude. You can't hide that.
I love who I am.
Yeah.
You know, and actually Total Divas has really helped me discover who I am too, because
I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
You've been on the season since season 1.
Yep.
You've been on there. You've had some highs and lows through the years.
Of course.
Speak to us about that.
Gosh, there was a time, especially in WWE, where I just felt like it was never going to be my time. And before I got picked to do Total Divas, I was actually going back to school on the side, doing online classes. I was thinking about
that in the locker room.
Really wanted to go back to school, and I was thinking about getting into law. And it really interested me. And then, you know, I'd gone to Rwanda and did this 4-day retreat with the United Nations Foundation. We visited 2 refugee camps, over 30,000 refugees. And it was this life-changing trip that I was like, everything that I was feeling like, gosh, they don't really want me here. And, you know, at work in WWE, I was like, maybe I'm not good enough to be in the WWE, or maybe my time is past. Or, you know, sometimes you just have those moments where you're human and you're like, you know, you just feel sorry for yourself, because you're like, I'm not the Divas champion, or I'm not on top, or I'm not in the main storyline. That trip to Rwanda changed my life, because I was meeting with kids that, you know, they were starving, and they were sleeping 7 or 8 people to a bed. And we saw it firsthand, and they had nowhere to even go to the bathroom. They all went to the bathroom in this like field, and we didn't even have anywhere to go to the bathroom when we were there.
Wow.
It was crazy. We had to like take a special car to go find somewhere along the side of the road to go to the bathroom. It was insane. But we were in the forests of Rwanda, and these people were still in hiding, because they were hiding from what had happened with the genocide in the 90s. So they were all still hiding. There's still lots of turmoil over there. And I just couldn't believe that these people were so grateful and so compassionate and so full of hope. And I was like, whoa, like this is like, again, one of those moments where you're like, there's always going to be somebody in the world going through something more than you.
Right.
These people were just so excited that somebody was paying attention to them, and we were bringing them supplies. They were just happy about getting water and food.
Yeah.
And you could tell a lot of them were emaciated, and it was just very eye-opening and very...
Life into perspective.
Yes. So I got home, and that week, Triple H pulls me aside and says, you know, Natty, we picked you to be a part of Total Divas. And it's this new show that we're doing, and it's going to document you and a few other girls in your lives in and out of the ring, and it's very special, and blah, 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 blah. And I was so blown away by Triple H asking me to be a part of it. I was just like, wow, this is incredible. I'm just getting this new opportunity. And of course I felt like it was it was the greatest like opportunity for me that I could have at that moment.
Yeah.
And I've been on the show since the very beginning for 4 years, 6 full seasons. And it's been the opportunity of a lifetime. I've loved it, but it's also taught me, which is what I was saying before, to be vulnerable. That what people really connect with is you laughing, crying, showing that you're not perfect, opening up, and saying, you know what, I'm human, and I make mistakes. We fall down and we get back up, and that's all you can do. You don't go backwards, you keep going forward. And I really opened myself up to being vulnerable on that show, and I felt like when I went to induct Beth at the Hall of Fame this past week, I felt like all of that Total Divas vulnerability helped me on that stage where I could just be like totally vulnerable. And I even at one point choked up and started crying on stage when I was talking about my Uncle Owen, and people just said that I had them in, they're like, you and Beth had me in tears, but I felt like people want to be let in. Right. But not everybody can let you in. Not everybody knows how to do that. Yeah. But I feel like I learned that that's okay.
It is okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've always said. Those are the moments where people will connect with you. Those are the moments that you're giving them a reason to root for you. Because if everything's always going great in your life, why is anybody going to root for you?
Right.
They're at home with all their struggles. They're like, oh, this one's got it easy, this and that. But they don't know that all of us, have something that we're dealing with, something that's happened to us in our past. Your relationship, we spoke about your relationship with your father. Now you're really much closer.
Yeah.
Right?
We're a lot closer now.
He's going through a lot.
Yeah, my dad's going through, he's going through, some issues health-wise, but we're just working through it as a family. My dad, he used to play in the NFL, and he obviously was in the WWE for many years, and he was a world-class shot putter, and sometimes, being so athletic your whole life, it takes a toll on you. Yeah. But as a family, we would just really stand by him. And my mom and dad live 10 minutes from me, and they're just my rocks. And I feel like, even though my dad has had some health issues in the last few years, it's made us really close. And, a few people have asked me before, like, why didn't your dad, walk you out to the ring instead of Brett? Why wasn't your dad involved in that feud with you and you instead of Brett? Or why, when I was doing the feud against Charlotte Flair, when she had Rick with her, they were saying, why wasn't your dad with you? And my dad was going through some health stuff, and he wasn't able to be with me, and I wasn't ready to share that with the world of what he was going through. And for different reasons, for like the HEPA, there's a HEPA law or HIPAA law. It's just
yeah,
I can't disclose exactly what my dad was going through, but it's something that took a toll on our entire family. And we're just gonna have to stand by my dad and support him through it. And some days he's great, and then other days, he has his challenges.
And when he has his challenges, how does it hit you? How does it affect you?
I think it's made me more compassionate and patient, because my dad has really taught me that you have to live life in the moment, and that you have to enjoy each day with each other, because like I said, tomorrow is not promised to anyone. And my dad has taught me a lot about just living in the moment, making sure that, like when you laugh with family members and you get to share a good meal or enjoy a fun TV show together, and like that is what life is all about, are the little things. The little things are the big things. The other day, my dad came over, and TJ always turns on wrestling because he knows that my dad loves to watch his old matches back. And my dad was just glued to the screen watching this old match that he and Brett had against the British Bulldogs. And I was talking to my dad, and I said to my dad, I said, gosh, Daddy, you were so good. You were such a good bad guy. And my dad got like bashful, and he's like, oh, like almost like, oh, shucks. But like he didn't say shucks. He was just like all bashful. He's like, well, it was easy when you're in there with the best tag team in the world, like the British Bulldogs. And he's like, every night in there with Dynamite and Davey Boy was like a night off. And then he just like kept talking about his old like memories. And my dad's memories, like your memories are very important. Yeah. And your memories sometimes are all that you have.
Right.
And when he shares those memories, we just listen to him and let him bask in them. and, you know, enjoy them as a family. And like I said, whether it's us enjoying a good meal together or a good TV show or an old wrestling match or a song on the radio, or I always give my dad, like, anytime I ever get WWE merchandise, I always make sure that I get my dad's size because he loves to wear his WWE stuff. He's very proud of the fact that he's a legend in the WWE. And I just take it one day at a time with my dad and just cherish every day that I have with him. And, you know, we text each other multiple times a day. And I just want my dad to know that I'm always there for him, no matter what, that I'm unconditionally there for him.
And trust me, it's a very special, you know, just recently losing my dad. It's very special.
Yeah.
With him, for sure.
It's something I don't take for granted. And, you know, you were here with me when everything was going on with your dad, because it's been a long journey. It hasn't just been since you left.
It's been a very long journey.
You were going through that, you know, when you were still here.
Yeah.
So, and I could see the toll that it was taking on you, and just, sometimes you just feel so helpless.
Yeah.
You know, and I could see that there were moments that you just had this helplessness that, like, you wanted to do more, but you didn't know what you could do.
Right.
And sometimes all you can do is just be there for people.
Be there, and one of the biggest things I learned is make sure that everything is said that you want said.
Yeah.
You know, there are some times that you don't get that, and that's why I think it's important to tell people when you separate for the day, when you go to work, when you go to tell them, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
You know, because like we talked about, you never know. You never know from one moment to the other.
Right.
You know, if something happens. So that is a good thing, is that I can say that, you know, we both said everything, you know.
But you were with your dad until the very, very end.
Very end. And I'm, you know, really happy, and I should say I feel really good that I had all this time with him, you know, at the end, that I was with him every single day, that I was, you know, taking care of him. I did all I could do.
How was your mom doing?
She's, you know, going through her transition of trying to, you know, a new life.
Right.
A new life. But she's willing to come move to California, so she is. And she's right now with my husband and I. And we're going to, you know, transition her to, she's going to be living like 12 minutes from us. And she's going to a place that's actually going to be able to take better care of her, because we're always traveling.
Right.
But she's actually has a really good attitude. She says, you know what, I'm going to make this the best years of my life. And I'm like, wow, for her to say this at 84 years old, that's pretty impressive. You know, so she's tough. She's tough.
And you have that resolve that she has.
Yeah, well, you know, I learn daily more and more to have that, for sure. You know, it's amazing when we grow from a strong family.
Right.
My dad being a colonel, that kind of stuff. You know, you grow in that. But you also learn that it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why sometimes, especially being in the sports field, some people think that, oh God, don't cry, whatever. And I'm like, no, you know what? My feelings are on my shoulders, like you know what they say, you wear your feelings on your sleeves or something like that.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to apologize for that.
No, absolutely not.
No.
You're listening to Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia.
You know what the superstars would absolutely love in the middle of the ring? From time to time, maybe? Is a mattress! That's right. It would feel so much better than what they currently land on. Now, let me tell you about Bear Mattress. It's designed for optimal cooling, comfort, and muscle recovery. There you go. That's what they would love. So that you can sleep better and perform at your best every day. And just for you guys, go to bearmattress.com. That's BEAR mattress.com, and make sure you use the promo code GLORY50. That's GLORY50, and that instantly takes $50 off your new mattress. So Bear Mattress uses eco-friendly materials and was developed with insights from sleep experts, professional athletes, and engineers to create a super comfortable and supportive sleep that is up to 7 times cooler than the traditional foam mattresses. The Bear Mattress uses FDA-determined Ciliate technology. Yes, I know it's so fancy, but let me just say, it just literally bears down to your body is going to recover faster, sleep better, and improve performance performance. You know, in fact, buying a mattress in a store can cost thousands of dollars, and I know that because I actually went in to buy a mattress over $2,000 thinking it was going to be awesome, but it wasn't. But now, Bear Mattress starts at just $500 and every size is under $1,000. It got so much cheaper to sleep so much better. And you're going to love this. The Bear Mattress was made in the USA, sold online and ships free right to your doorstep, making it easy and convenient for you. Buying a Bear Mattress also online is completely risk-free for 100 nights in home trial. That's right. You heard me. It's risk-free. 100 nights. How can you go wrong? They're going to ship it to you for free and they're going to pick it up for free. So you get 100 nights to try out the mattress. And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up, refund you 100% of your money. 100% of your money. That means you got nothing to lose. That's right. 100 nights absolutely free with no hidden charges or fees. Named the best mattress for active lifestyles by Gear Patrol. Go to www.bearmattress.com. That's BEAR mattress.com today and use that promo code GLORY50. That's GLORY50 for $50 off your purchase.
Now back to Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia.
Now, you and TJ, you met each other when you were 12.
Yeah. I mean, we've known each other since we were children.
How did that, just through friends?
Well, TJ went to school with my cousin Teddy Hart in Calgary, and they went to a school called Langevin. And it was in Calgary, and TJ was best friends with Teddy Hart and his brother Matthew. And so he would always be up at the Hart house playing in the rings outside and playing in the dungeon, and he was just like a fixture at the house because he was best friends with my cousin Ted. Mm-hmm. And Ted's mom took care of my grandfather, Stu Hart, so she was up at the house every single day and just very close to my grandfather. And so TJ was always with Ted, and Ted was always with his mom, and so this little boy was always hanging out. And then as we grew older, TJ never left. He just became such a big part of our family, best friends with many of our cousins. And then all of a sudden I became really close friends with him. When we were teenagers, we were like best friends.
Yeah.
And
when did it turn into a relationship?
TJ says that he's always had feelings for me, but I didn't really know that he did have feelings for me. And so I just always had kind of considered him like a friend. And then when I started learning how to wrestle, TJ was the first person that helped me, and he was basically getting black eyes every day from me doing moves on him, but he would never complain. And so he'd never complain, and he was just like this rock for me in my life. And and so then one week TJ had to go away. He went on a little tour. Actually, it was 2 weeks that he went away. And my uncles, Bruce and Ross, ran Stampede Wrestling, and they were doing like some little tour around like Alberta. So they were going to all these different little towns and doing shows for Stampede Wrestling, and TJ went away. And so while he was gone, and I didn't have anybody else to practice wrestling with, and I tried to practice with a couple of the other guys in our wrestling camp, but they weren't the same. It was like going from driving a Ferrari, which was TJ, to driving a Buick, which was these other guys that I was trying to train with. Mm-hmm. And they were nice enough, but like TJ was just so good, and he helped me so much, and he gave me so much confidence learning how to wrestle. And then I just built this like special connection with him. It was wrestling that really made us fall in love with each other.
Yeah.
And so when he was gone, I just missed him so much, and I just realized that I loved him. Aww. And so then he came back, and I was like, don't you ever go again. I'm so sad that you were gone, and like I never want you to go away again. And then we just kind of it sort of evolved from there. But I've just never met anyone like TJ.
Yeah.
I've never met anyone like him, and he's...
But you never dated anybody else?
Never.
So he's your one and only?
I've only ever dated TJ. I've only ever kissed TJ. He's been the only love of my life.
Do you feel like you've missed out on anything?
No.
No.
It's like when you're having dinner at the White House, you're not really worried about having dinner at McDonald's.
I love it. I love that analogy.
Like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm just so lucky that I have them. Like, and it was never a void. It wasn't like, oh, I want to go and explore. And like, I had I had the Rolls Royce of men, and I was like, there was nobody. I mean, TJ is the closest thing you could get to my grandfather, Stu Hart. He's loving, he's compassionate, he's loyal, he's caring, he's sensitive, he's smart. I mean, just recently TJ's IQ was tested.
Oh yeah.
And we had, TJ was. It's a long story. I won't get into it, but we ended up learning what TJ's IQ is.
Yeah.
And I always brag about TJ and how smart he is because I just think he's the best there was, the best there is, the best there ever will be. But we've learned that TJ has a very, very high IQ, and TJ's like, oh, I don't care about that. Like TJ could care less about it, but it's really high.
Do you know the number?
120.
120.
Yeah, which is high. It's like, they say a surgeon is about 116. And so I was like, it's funny because the guy that was testing TJ, he was like, gosh, like you should have, like, why didn't you end up getting into a different vocation? And TJ said, he's like, well, I didn't grow up idolizing my math teacher. I grew up idolizing Shawn Michaels. Oh, and so TJ doesn't care about his IQ, but I just brag about it because I'm like, he's so smart and he's so articulate and well-spoken and just loyal.
Yeah.
When you're his friend, you are his friend. And one of the funniest things is, he said one time, he goes, anybody that has a problem with Zack Ryder has a problem with me. And
isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Who cannot not get along? You know, me with Zack.
Because Zack, did you know that Zack was a Make-A-Wish kid?
What?
Zack actually is a cancer survivor. Yeah,
he's our Zack Ryder.
He rarely ever speaks about it, and maybe he'll be mad at me for saying this on your podcast, but I'm going to come out and say it. I think he has spoken about it once. Zack was a Make-A-Wish kid.
Wow.
And he beat cancer when he was a child. And he and TJ are very close friends, but he's an incredible human being.
Yes.
And it's so amazing that he got to live his dreams here in WWE, and he's still living his dreams. But he is just an awesome person. We love Zack.
Wow. I am going to definitely get him on this show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad you told me that, because that brings a whole new light to Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Wow.
He doesn't, he's very, Zack doesn't like to bring it up, but it's just one of those things that it's like, because we work with Make-A-Wish and WWE.
Yeah, but that gives hope.
Yeah. And
I think he should even do more for Make-A-Wish, like really going in, because it gives all those kids hope.
Yeah, and I've met several Make-A-Wish children, and I've still kept in touch with them. Mm-hmm. And I keep in touch with their parents, and actually one of the little boys that I'm friends with, his name is Chase, and I send him little video messages. I sent him one from WrestleMania with Charlotte, and we were talking to him and just saying, we're thinking of you, Chase. And there's another one that I'm friends with named Evan. He was born without intestines, and so he's not able to eat any. He's only, I think, 10 years old, but he's never been able to eat food.
Wow.
So he's not, can you imagine going your whole life not eating food?
No.
He's already outlived his life expectancy. But he's an incredible little boy. His mother is incredible, and they're just beyond inspirational to me, and I keep in touch with him all the time and send him messages, and you'd be surprised at how, actually you were the one that told me that when we were at that Cleveland's Children's Hospital that, the doctors say that after we're done visiting these kids that their vitals go up.
Way up.
And that they respond so well to us giving them attention.
Exactly.
And that is one of the most powerful parts of our job, being in the WWE, is being able to impact somebody's life just by visiting them and giving them a hug.
Look at Connor. He wasn't even expected to live as long as he did.
Right.
But he wanted to make it to WrestleMania, and then he passed. He
made it, and then he got to live his dream, and but we helped him see his dream, and he in return inspired all of us and started. Because of Connor's Cure. Because of Connor, we have Connor's Cure, which has now raised over $1 million.
Right.
And it's helping hundreds of families.
Yes.
I actually wrote about that in one of my columns for the Calgary Sun.
Oh, great.
And, just talked about, that's like one of my favorite parts of my job, is that you get to do things like that, the ring is fun, and winning a championship is fun, and walking down the ramp at WrestleMania is fun. But when you can change a child's life that's going through hell.
Right.
Think about just the impact that we have. That's the big picture.
Yeah. And I know that just you sharing some of the stories that you've been sharing so far, you're making an impact right now.
Yeah,
through this.
Of course.
Listening to it. What I want to know is, now that TJ's not on the road with you because he got injured, Was it last year, or has it already been?
He got injured June 1st, 2015.
God, crazy. Time flies here. But how is it now for you?
To be brutally honest, I've been on the road with TJ my whole career in WWE. Yeah. We got signed together. We always have been together, always. And so it's been hard. Like it's been hard to be away from him because I'm always gone. But at the same time, it's also made us closer because when I do come home and I get to see him, you know, I think TJ and I are the closest now that we've ever been.
Interesting.
And it's given us a different perspective that no matter what ball is thrown at you, no matter what obstacles you are going through, if the love is there, you'll get through it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, TJ is just my rock. And, I mean, I'd love to have him with me at all times. When I go home, I appreciate him so much more. And I know he appreciates me too. And, you know, we just count our blessings.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go through something serious like a neck injury, you know, I saw Eric Legrand get inducted by Dana Warrior.
Yes.
And what an inspiration he is.
Yes.
And it also was just a reminder, too, that, you know, like I said, when you think you're going through something, there's always somebody that's going through something more. Yeah. And just count your blessings every day. Count your blessings.
That Eric is able to turn that into something positive and kind of make an impact for others.
And think about how many people he touched
just
this year at WrestleMania that got to see him and hear his story and feel inspired by him.
Right, absolutely.
So,
do you feel sad for TJ that he doesn't get to wrestle?
Well, we've never actually come out and said TJ can't wrestle anymore. Like we've never said that. I believe in miracles, and I believe that there's hope. Yeah. And so I've never put a finality on it. I've never said, nope, TJ's not wrestling ever again. Like I've never, ever, ever said that. And TJ's never, ever, ever said that. And I'm always just...
It's true. You never know.
You just never know.
You never know.
And I mean, look at Kurt Angle. He wrestled with a broken neck and won the Olympic gold medal.
Yeah.
You know, so I just never like to put things, you know, our business is entertainment.
Right.
And so, yes, we are wrestlers, but we're first and foremost entertainers. We entertain. And look at Kurt Angle's speech at the Hall of Fame. That was more entertaining than, you know, than anything I've ever seen.
Isn't it crazy, too? I learned a lot from him just in that speech when he talked about, you know, wrestlers are sometimes a little too focused on the technical side when what's going to be remembered is the personality.
Yes.
The whole showmanship.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes.
And that's something that with you in the ring, it's so awesome seeing you in the ring. Because you've got both. You've got the technical side, but you also have the personality.
I like doing both.
Yeah. Tell me, how does it feel for you in the ring, like having that match?
Oh, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like wrestling. There's nothing like performing in front of a live crowd. There's nothing like making people laugh, making people cry, making people boo, making them yell, making them scream, making them feel a certain way. And you never, you know, Maya Angelou had said a very famous quote of hers saying, you know, you just never forget how somebody makes you feel. And so we get to do that with people all the time. And I just love it. And, you know, it's funny because Beth, I didn't expect her to say it, but I appreciate it so much that she did. She said in her Hall of Fame speech, she goes, Natty is the kind of person that gets her teeth knocked out.
Yeah, hands it to a referee.
And says, don't lose these.
Please.
Yeah, and hold on to these. Which really did happen. And I couldn't believe it, but I just kept going, and I just marched on. And
here, can you hold this for me, please? I'll be back for it, I promise.
And it's funny because I think the referees were like, "What the hell is this?"
Wait a minute, she just handed me her teeth.
Yeah, and it's funny because like.
You get a whole new perspective too. All I want for Christmas is my tooth.
Right. And that was like, I couldn't believe that happened. I was like, what the, oh my gosh, like this is insane. But that's, you know, that was a real like, it was very symbolic of just like, this is what I love. This is what I was born to do. This is what makes me tick, and nothing is going to stop me from doing it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do this as long as I want. And I'm going to be just like the fabulous Moolah. I'm going to wrestle forever.
Yeah, you've had a lot of highs here.
Yes.
What do you feel like been your lowest low while you've been here?
I feel like my lowest low the hardest thing I've ever gone through is just, watching my husband get hurt, because he's my whole world. But like I said, it just because I care so much about TJ and he's my entire universe, it was like, I think that was the hardest thing I've ever gone through. That was the hardest time of my life. Because we started wrestling together, and wrestling was like what brought us together. Wrestling was what made us fall in love, and wrestling is our heart and soul. And so when he got hurt, it really rocked my whole world. Because, it was very hard to go through that and to see him go through that. But I'm also grateful, like I said before, because it made us stronger. It made us stronger. It made our relationship stronger. It reminded us both that we're unbreakable, and that no matter what we go through, if we have each other, we can get through anything. Yeah. But it's been for me, it's been an emotional roller coaster because, when I come to work, I just try to be the consummate professional. But sometimes, like when you were going through that stuff with your dad and him having cancer, struggling with that craziness, like there was times when I would see, you very privately, even in the locker room, just your eyes would well up with tears. And it's because, like you said, we're human, and it's sometimes hard to just compartmentalize and go, nope, this doesn't bother me, I'm here at work. Sometimes people would ask me, like, hey, how did TJ's surgery go, or how's he doing? And it would make my eyes well up with tears, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't be crying, because then people are going to think that I'm unstable or crazy. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just human.
Yeah. And if they can't understand that is just so emotional. Oh my gosh.
So that was my lowest low.
Yeah. What about for you personally?
Gosh. I feel like I struggle with trying to be, I'm a perfectionist. So when things aren't perfect, I beat myself up for it. And I feel like there's such a big part of me that just never forgets, like when I was wrestling in front of 15 people for $8. And so I never feel like I've accomplished enough. And I always feel like I'm just chasing something that it's like, wait a minute, you've already got it. Yeah. So what are you chasing? You know what I mean? Like it's, there's times when I feel like I haven't done enough. I haven't accomplished enough. I haven't succeeded enough. I think that comes with just being a driven
Type A personality,
trying to be perfect. And I think that's the type A personality is what kind of fueled my eating disorder, because it was just me searching for perfection.
Right.
And so I just overshot a lot, and was like, if I shoot for the moon, I might reach a few stars, but you never stop shooting for the moon. And so sometimes that can drive you crazy. So that is, I'm like that sometimes, where, even this year at WrestleMania, there was a moment in the match that I didn't feel was perfect on my part. And I remember getting back from the match, and I thanked all the girls, and, I was happy, but I was also like, damn, I could have made that better. And, I beat myself up for a couple hours, and then I was like, let it go. No one even noticed.
Nobody even noticed.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, there's... that happens with me too, as far as like I'll watch something back and then I singing or something like that, and I get technical, right, and start breaking it down, and then but there'll be people that went, oh my God, what an amazing performance, you gave me chills, you gave me goosebumps, you gave me this. But then you watch it back, or I'll watch it back, and I'm beating myself up for it, and I'm going, wait a minute, can I just focus on the person that said that I gave him goosebumps? Right. We notice these technical things. Nobody else notices.
Oh, you are the best in the world. It's funny, when I listened to you did the national anthem for us a few years ago. Was it last year or the year before?
For Mania?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it. The last time I did it was in, I believe it was in Miami. Oh my God! Our life.
I'm like everything.
But I did it just now at the Tribute to the Troops in December.
And but when your voice, it's sometimes when you were here working full time, I felt like, because you were around so much and always doing the ring announcing, and when you would sing the national anthem weekly, I remember there was a point where we did do it weekly. Yeah. I would just sometimes stop and listen to you sing, and I would be like, Lilian's so good. We take this woman for granted because she does this every week, but she's really, really, really good. Your voice is just breathtaking. And, of course, the powers that be, Mr. McMahon and everybody that, all of the, like I said, the powers that be, I think they will always be indebted to you and so grateful for, not only are you an incredible musician, but you are also a person with a lot of integrity. And that integrity isn't just something that, it's not a word that I just throw around, and it's not something that's easy to find. Integrity is really just, you have such an incredible content of character, and you're just a great human. So yes, you're an amazing vocalist, but you can feel it in your soul.
Yeah, you're making me cry. Turning this into holy, thank you.
You're welcome, and you do. You have a lot of integrity, and it's not easy to come by.
I appreciate that. And it's funny because I was going to talk about you in the locker room and how, all the girls, when they talk about it, like when the draft was going on, for example, some of them were saying, I don't care where I end up, I just want to be with Natty.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, that means the world to me.
Yeah. You bring a glow. You just bring this happiness. You just bring this aura in the locker room, and just...
that means so much to me.
Yeah. And what's so great is that everybody also understands that you might not have a good day, and that's okay. And it's okay. You don't have to be sunshine 24/7.
Right.
You can allow yourself to be, be real and be like, I am having a really bad day.
Right. But you just be real.
And be real.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
I also try to be very compassionate of all the girls, because I just know that, like I said, and I've said it throughout your podcast, you just never know what somebody else is going through. There's always somebody going through something worse than you, and you might see someone and they might seem like they have an attitude that day, but you never know if their mom has just been diagnosed with breast cancer, or they're going through a bad breakup, or they're helping support a family member financially. You just don't know what people are going through.
Right.
And so bringing that compassion to the table, it's like I always want to be a person that the girls can go to if they feel upset or they have a question, or if I have any answers to the test that I can give to help them, I want them to have them.
Yeah.
What's
a message for your fans? Because, man, you've got amazing fans.
I just appreciate how loyal my fans have been. Some women in our industry would not be able to recover from some of the things I've gone through the way that I have. And I'm going to come right out and say it. Sometimes, it depends on how you're positioned on the show, or what storyline you're in, or how they, book your character. Not everybody can recover. And my fans have understood Natty from a grassroots standpoint. And they know that I've come from the dungeon, that I was born and raised in one of the greatest wrestling families in the world. And they know that I love this. Mm-hmm. And they're very understanding, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or anything in between. They just stand behind me. And they've always been there for me. If I get a new shirt, everybody buys one. If I post something on Twitter, everybody supports it. It's just great to know that our fan following they're extremely loyal.
Very.
And even when I make mistakes, I never really feel backlash from the fans. I just feel like they just love me unconditionally. Yeah. When I'm a bad guy, they sometimes still cheer me. And it's just great. Even just with this recent heel turn, in the last 6 months that I've had, my fans have been so wonderful about Natty, you're killing it. And I love you as a bad guy, and, Queen of Black Hearts. And this is the Natty that I've been waiting to see. And it's nice because, you can get bullied a lot on social media when you make a mistake or you jump into a new character. And I haven't really experienced that. I just feel like I have extremely loyal fans. And I want to express that I appreciate them.
Right. And just in life in general, where are you going? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, I love these new writing opportunities that I've had, and I'm actually currently working on a book.
Yeah.
I've been keeping a journal and writing my thoughts down for a few years, and I'm working with a writer who is helping me to he's a Emmy award-winning writer, and he's been helping me organize different thoughts. And so it might be a few years until it's done, but I would love to write a book that's uplifting and powerful and helps people. But these columns are great practice for it, and they're really teaching me that I love writing. And I one day would love to open up my own wrestling school. My husband and I, since we were children, that was one of our dreams, is to open up our own school. And we, would be like the first ever husband and wife teaching it from a female standpoint and a male standpoint. So I feel like down the road, when TJ is fully healed from his, fusion, that we can maybe do that. So that's a dream of mine that I have one day.
Do you still want to obtain the championship again?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I would love to. I would love to be the women's champion. And, if you're in our women's division currently and you don't want to have the women's championship, it is time for you to go.
Yeah. Well, isn't that what, who was it, DDP who said that?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was Dusty who said that to DDP, right, when he talked about it in the Hall of Fame. And he said, if you are not striving to be champ, what are you doing here?
Right. And that, for me, it's like I've really proven myself. I can jump into a babyface character, into this bad guy, bad girl role, and I feel confident that I will have the championship. But, it's fun to chase something. It's fun to have a goal to work towards. And if anything, I feel like all I can do at this moment is just keep being positive and keep contributing to the women's division. And SmackDown women's division, the division that I'm on, it's been on fire.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are really killing it. It's been really great. Are you nervous about the draft?
No. Anything that gets thrown at me, I'll take the ball and run with it.
Now you're like, my God, through everything that I've been through in my life,
I can get through anything. And I love change, and I love challenges, and I love, it's funny because people will joke around oh, there's new girls coming up. Are you guys worried about them taking your spot? And I'm like, I've been here 9 years. And it's funny because I feel like, gosh, I've been here a long time. But then I look at Randy Orton, John Cena, gosh, look at Triple H.
Right.
Look at Stephanie, look at Paul Heyman, look at Brock Lesnar. I mean, look at the Hardys.
Right.
No, it's about passion. It's about delivering. It's about performance. Stephanie McMahon is she's one of my inspirations because she, every year, first of all, she looks better and better and better. I don't know what's in the water, or what kind of moisturizer.
She amazing at WrestleMania.
She looked the best she's ever looked. And I'm like, she's doing the best work of her career. And it's I look at Jennifer Lopez and I'm like, you're going to tell me that I can't keep doing what I love because of a number?
Exactly.
I'm damn proud of my age.
Yeah.
I'm 34 and I feel like
Girl, you're a baby. Think about this. This is the way that I say it. If you died tomorrow, would they say how young or how old?
Right.
They would say how young.
Right.
So if you'd be considered young dead, you're more than young alive.
And also I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I'm living my dreams. I have wonderful people around me. I have a wonderful husband, a wonderful family, a beautiful home, 5 cats, one of whom is rich. And I just have this incredible life, incredible career, respect for my peers. I have nothing but gratitude for everyone. And I just feel really good, and I want to just keep feeling happy. At the end of the day, if it's a good meal that makes you happy, if it's playing ping pong ball that makes you happy, if it's, writing down a few nice thoughts for the day, or listening to a fun song, or playing on Instagram.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that makes you happy, do it. If it's doing something crazy, landing a movie role, if that makes you happy, great. But if you're not happy with the little things, you're never going to be happy with the big things. So that's one thing that that sticks with me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect way to finish this off. Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
having me, Lil.
Where do we find you on social media?
At Nat by Nature, N-A-T by Nature, for Instagram and Twitter. So, yeah, and,
What are you going to say? This is what?
You can follow my cat on Instagram at 2paws. 2 is in the number, P-A-W-Z.
Yeah, but you've...
this has been so nice. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, we've been trying to tag this together.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
It's nice to give the stories of who you really are.
It's nice to be real,
So you've heard the amazing, the incredible Natalya. What a story. And, what I was saying about From the Vault and Now, what I love about this is you guys heard an interview that I did a little while ago. And I love the fact that we get to catch up with her now and about 6 months later find out what is new, what has been different. And one of the things that I know for sure has been different, that she is now the Women's SmackDown champion. Welcome back to Chasing Glory on Podcast One, Natalya.
Thank you guys so much for having me back.
I love it. I love the fact that you are a champ. And I'm telling you, girl, you are on fire. And you've been in the WWE now for, is it 11 years? Is that about right?
It's 10 years, yeah.
10 years. All right, the good old 10. You know, I was alone there as a decade diva for a while, so I'm glad that somebody joined me.
Yeah, no, I did. I got signed in 2007, January of 2007, and then I debuted on the main roster in 2008. So it's been a great journey.
Yeah.
And it's still continuing.
It's still continuing. You know, what I love is that you've never lost your fire. And even though you had like 7 years that, as they say, the drought, right, of championship for 7 years, man, you came back. What kept you going in those 7 years that you were like, I am going to win this again?
Well, I never gave up hope. And I felt, and I still feel this way, if you're in our women's division and you don't want to be a champion, you shouldn't be there. I felt that way the whole time. And I always felt like, if I didn't give up, you know, if I didn't, you know, stop dreaming, then, you know, obviously there was a chance that I could still have the title. But for me, I still kept believing that I could do it. And, you know, I still felt the fire inside of me. And when I see people lose that fire, you know, it's like, I don't want to come up to them and say like, hey, you know, you got to get out of here. But like, if you're not passionate about your job the same way that you were the very first day that you stepped into work, I think you do need to reassess what you're doing now.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely some times that you could lose that fire, but I've also noticed that there's different reasons why people lose that fire, and it could be even something that they're personally going through, that it could be so heavy that, you know, that it's really hard to focus on that. But I love that you just kept your eye on the prize. And what did it mean for you to actually win it again?
It was really a great feeling because I felt like everything that I'd worked towards was, you know, kind of led up to that moment, and it was like a special victory for myself and for TJ, obviously, because it was something we could share together. And, you know, TJ was so proud of me, and it was like we made it through his injury, and we made it through, obviously, me chasing the championship for 7 years, and I finally got to realize a dream, and it was really a lesson for me in perseverance about not giving up and seeing something through and believing in myself even when others didn't believe in me. You know?
Yeah, I love that.
Find that. Yeah, like there were, you know, not everybody believed in me, so I had to believe in myself because I knew at least I could count on myself.
Yeah.
But it was just nice to see it come true, you know?
Yeah, I love that because sometimes when you're in an organization for so long, you know, it's that whole thing where they kind of take you for granted a little bit, and the new people come in and it's all about the new. And that's, you know, sometimes even happens in regular jobs. Oh, the new person's coming in. And so or even in school, right? Like the focus is on, ooh, who's the new person? And someone who's been there for a long time kind of gets, you know, back and thrown back. So
well, that's kind of the fun challenge, though, is that I always like to, you know, I think having new talent coming in, it keeps everybody on their toes.
Yeah.
Competition breeds a better product. But at the same time, you know, there are people that, you know, have earned their spot there and you know, definitely earned their place. You look at John Cena and Randy Orton and Undertaker and, you know, people that have had very tenured careers in WWE. And I'd like to think that, you know, as far as the women go, like, I've done a lot of really wonderful things within the company, but I also wouldn't be able to do those things if we hadn't gotten new girls coming in, you know? So it's nice that, you know, I have uniquely a very lengthy career because I started wrestling when I was a teenager. But, you know, obviously that's not everybody's journey, but for me, like, people like, oh, you've been doing this for so long, but, like, they don't realize just how young I was when I started.
Yeah.
And I look at Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio, and they kind of had the same journey. They started when they were very young. So I'm lucky. I'm really lucky that I've gotten to work with so many great people from the past, people from the present, girls coming in from NXT. If you're good at what you do and you're confident in your abilities, you want to work with everyone.
Right. And speaking of that, as a matter of fact, you've been having a feud with Charlotte. We just had Charlotte on Chasing Glory last week. What an incredible interview, very raw. And I want to talk about, you know, for sure, some of the things that you even encountered in your interview that you gave before. But how has it been working with Charlotte?
I really, you know, Charlotte's one of my favorite opponents. We obviously have a magical chemistry in the ring. We have since the very first time we, you know, locked up at NXT, and we have a lot of similarities. We both come from kind of crazy wrestling families.
Yeah.
I can use the word crazy loosely. But we also have a lot of similarities. You know, we have big shoes to fill, and, you know, in the fact that I'm trying to honor the Hart family, she's trying to represent her father, and everybody, you know, knows Ric Flair, and they think of greatness, so she always feels like she has to be great. And, you know, obviously hard work and dedication kind of, you know, help fill in the rest for her, because, you know, she definitely has put the time and the commitment into being very good in the ring. But we have had a rivalry. We were the only women in WWE to have fought for every single championship together against each other. So we have a very storied rivalry, but the tables have turned now on Charlotte, and she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
She doesn't like the fact that I'm now the champion and she is the challenger. And she doesn't like that she's not in control anymore, because she likes being the little alpha.
Right.
And now I'm the alpha, and now I'm in charge. And now she's in my dungeon.
Yeah. How has it been for you? Because she's normally played the heel for many years, and you were the baby face for many years, and you said it, the tables are turned. How's it been for you to have that role?
I love being a bitch. And I know I probably can't use that word in this interview.
It's fine.
But I really like it. It just feels good. It feels good to do well. It just feels good to play that character and to let it all out and to live vicariously through the role I play on TV. And it's just fun. Like, it's funny when you talk to, like, Stephanie McMahon. And she's like, playing a bad guy is always so much more fun.
Yeah.
Granted, I played both roles. I can do both. I like doing both. But it's fun because, you know, the bad guy, the heel, usually sets the tone of the match. So for me, I like guiding and leading, and I think it's good for Charlotte too, because she's been forced to try a different role.
Right.
She loves being a bad guy, but she's going to grow and learn more as well, and being challenged and being a babyface. So I think it is good for her too.
I agree.
We're having a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And I know that you guys don't have a match for Survivor Series. It is pretty much Raw against SmackDown, so you're going to be facing Alexa Bliss, who's also been on the show. Very powerful, her story. If you guys haven't heard it, definitely go back to past episodes. But how excited are you at the possibility of going against her again?
I'm really excited about facing Alexa. We've never had a one-on-one singles match. I think it'll be great. She's definitely grown a lot. Especially going over to Raw, she's really come into her own, and she's super athletic. She's somebody that, like I said, I'm always down for fresh matchups. I think it'll be awesome. And, you know, she's going to also learn what the Queen of Hearts is all about.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to put her in the sharpshooter and make the tap. I think that'll be really fun.
I love it. And how excited are you to go back against Charlotte? Because I have a feeling Charlotte's going to keep coming after you.
Well, you know, Charlotte, of course, she's an opportunist, and she wants my championship.
Yep.
And unfortunately for her, that's not going to happen because, you know, Lilian, I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
Yeah.
And, you know, Charlotte, I'm actually excited about my next matchup with Charlotte. I think we're going to make magic again, but I'm not ready to relinquish my championship, and she's going to have to fight with everything in her power up against me, and if she thinks she's taking my championship, she's dead wrong.
I love it.
And she can bring her father, and Rick can sit front row and watch us compete, but she's not taking it from me.
I love it.
So I'll be happy to let both Rick and her pose with my championship if they want. We can all take a group selfie.
How kind of you. How sweet of you. Now, let me ask you this. When you did my podcast before, you actually revealed something that you had never talked about, and it just kind of came out. And then since then, it was something that, you know, people picked up on, and it became something that was very powerful for you that you mentioned. And that was that you revealed that at one point, especially when Owen Hart had passed away, you became anorexic. And you know, it's something that you talked about, all the struggles that you went through, how you overcame it. How do you feel that came out in the open when you weren't even planning for it to come out?
It's funny because I got to talking with you and we just kind of had a conversation, and, you know, I had said that I admired Alexa for speaking out about having an eating disorder, and it's not easy to talk about, and in my entire time of being in WWE, I never shared it with anyone, and so now we just got to talking, and I was like, I almost forgot that you were even interviewing. And I actually appreciated that interview, and a lot of people have reached out to me since and been like, yeah, you know, I went through that too, and that's the great thing about having the platform that we do is that we can help others.
Yes.
But for me, like, I look back on, that time, and so much of me going through that was all about control. And a lot of it came from not believing in myself and being insecure and not really being sure of who I was or what I stood for. And now that I've worked in WWE for a decade, I've just grown so much as far as confidence. And, a lot of people that have body issues, they lack confidence. And I was one of those people that lacked confidence. And so now, for me, I'm in such a great place because, I can come out and say my weight and be like, I'm this, I weigh 155 or 160 pounds. I mean, sometimes I'd like to go, I like to near more towards the 155 mark, but,
yeah.
But, I'm proud of my weight. I work hard to have strong legs. And,
yes.
I go to the gym and I feel great about myself. And I'm a female, I'm a lady wrestler. I'm not going to be small. I don't want to be small. I want to be strong. I want to be powerful. I want to inspire others.
I love that.
To me, it's just, I need to be strong for what I do. I can't be scrawny.
And everybody comes in different weights, different sizes, and one does not fit all, for sure. And I really appreciate, though, your courage, because, even afterwards, we went on a couple shows together as I was promoting the podcast, and you talked further about it, and I just appreciate that. Yeah, it came out, but then you embraced it, and you were like, all right, I'm going to use this to help others. And I really appreciate that, because that's what this whole platform is all about, for sure.
Yeah, lifting others up and helping people.
Yeah. And now, here we go, Total Divas. Another season of Total Divas is coming out. Now, you have been the inaugural part of the cast from season 1. It's only yourself and the Bella twins that have been there, the entire time for every single show. How does that feel for you, and what can we expect in this season?
I'm excited. I've done the show since the beginning. I've done it with the Bellas since the beginning. I love being on the show. I'm passionate about it. I mean, I didn't realize that I cry every episode.
That's okay.
No, what's funny is that I actually think crying is really healthy.
It is.
It's a great. It's like tears are really healing, and it's funny because what I like about doing Total Divas, I've done over 100 episodes, and it's fun because people see me in the ring and they think, oh, Natty's wrestling, but I like showing them a different side of myself and my family, and I'm really close to my family, and my mom and dad are really quirky, and I like my mom and dad being able to share that spotlight. Now that my dad is not, obviously an active wrestler in WWE, he still feels the need to perform and entertain. Mm-hmm. So he likes being on Total Divas. He likes to entertain. He likes to, be on the show. And the season's going to be really good. This season's going to be, we've got 3 new cast members: Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Nia Jax. Obviously, your old favorites like myself and the Bella Twins, Naomi. We've got Lana and Maurice. We've got a great cast, and we've always, I've got my relationship with Lana. She's like a sister that I love her, but we tend to have an argument every other day. And she's just very eccentric, and I think people are going to actually relate to her too, because she's not perfect, and she shows a lot of those imperfections on the show. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I really love Carmella. I've built a great relationship and friendship with her, and Nia just colors outside the lines. She's going to say things that are going to oh my God, I can't believe she said that. And it's just, and with Lexi, she, talks openly about, different struggles that she's had, body issue, struggles, yeah. and she shares those stories, and, she plays the role of bad guy on TV, but on Total Divas, you see a different side of her. I think it's important for the audience to realize that we're just like everyone else. We laugh, we cry, we make mistakes, we fall down, we get back up. It's like part of being human.
Right.
And that's what girl power is all about, is being like, I'm real. I'm not perfect.
Right.
And I make mistakes. I mean, just the other day on Raw, there was this we invaded Raw, SmackDown, and there's this GIF that's going around on Twitter of me grabbing Zack Ryder's crotch. And I don't remember grabbing it, but I was I basically had to address it. I tweeted, I'm so sorry, Zack. I did not mean to do that. I apologize if I feel like that. He goes, I didn't even know you did that. I'm like, I didn't know either. I was just bursting through a doorway. I just need to grab you.
Hands can just, it's live TV. They just go where they go.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm like, oh, Natty, you're always doing stupid things. But yeah, I'm so excited for this new season. It's going to be awesome. Obviously we've done seven seasons. Yeah. I've been on the show for 4.5 years. I love the show, and it's gotten me out of a few speeding tickets. So
I love it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, don't miss out. The launch of it is actually Wednesday, November 1st, this Wednesday. So I just appreciate so much everything that you shared on, the past episode and then now giving us an update. Natty, I just wish you all the luck in the world, all the best in the world, because you are, working with you for so many years. You're really genuine. I love you.
Oh, I love you too, Lil, and I can't wait to see you again. And I'm so proud of you as well. You're such an empowering woman that we all look up to as far as our Divas locker room goes. Women's locker room.
Thank you. Thank you so much, honey. Well, the best to you.
I love you, Lil.
All right, take care. And there you have it. I told you, powerful, strong, but also so amazing in that she is very open about her life. And I love the fact that she even talked about how she realizes then she notices that she's cried at every season of Total Divas, but that is a power thing too. People have this fear of crying in that it shows weakness. I don't feel that at all. Whenever I hear somebody cry, and I go through this too, tears are there for a reason, people. They're there for a reason. Somehow we started thinking that it was a bad thing, and especially with men, that it was, you shouldn't show signs of that. And that, to me, this couldn't be further from the truth, in that when I see a guy break down, I literally go, wow, this guy has allowed himself to feel and allowed himself to express that, and that is strong.
It's healthy, Lilian.
It's very
healthy to cry. It is healthy to experience emotions. That's why it's important to have an outlet. And for some of us, we maybe only have the gym as an aggression outlet. Not everybody has maybe a friend that they can talk to for an emotional outlet. Right. And especially with guys, because most of us guys probably have guy friends and nobody crying to your guy friend. But you're absolutely right. It's just, we gotta get away with that stigma.
That. Absolutely.
Crying is natural. It's a part of our emotional system.
Damn, it feels good.
And damn right, it does feel good.
At first I'm like, but then when I'm done, I'm like, ooh, I feel like, thank you. I just got it out. It's just a way to get it out.
Exactly.
I love the fact that, too, she shared with us, even though it was one of those things that she didn't know that she was talking about, her eating disorder, but now she's embraced it and said, I'm going to help others through that. And so I thank you, Natty, for doing that. And I actually want to give out the number for the National Eating Disorder Association. This is something that I'm close to because I had bulimia for years, and man, it got so out of control. And now I still suffer from the effects of what I did. I messed up like my, what do they call it? The esophagus?
Esophageal lining, right? Esophageal lining or something like that?
All that acid in there. Oh, didn't do well. So I want to give you guys that. Please get help before. Just don't think that you've got all the control in the world, that you can do this on your own. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Give them a call. It's anonymous. So just find out ways. That's finally what I did. I just reached out for help, and that's how I got better. 1-800-931-2237. 1-800-931-2237. So thanks again for all the help with Komen, for the attention to breast cancer and spreading that around, guys. Again, it's 1 in 8 women that are getting it, and men are getting it too. We got to put an end to this. And we got to do something. So if you want to help out, even if you want to volunteer, go to komen.org. And now we're going to go into November, which means Movember. So Movember really focuses on the prostate cancer, like I was saying at the beginning of the show. So to help us launch that whole thing, we're actually even doing a Veterans Day special.
We got a double special coming.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Because as an Army brat, it's important for me to focus attention on what soldiers go through. And this guy, when this name came across my table, I was like, oh my God, I totally want to do a special on him. I love that we did that with J.R. Martinez. I love that people found that 9/11 special so special. So now that's what we're doing for Veterans Day. So we're going to bring Noah Galloway. Guys, this is somebody who is so powerful, and it all happened when he got deployed, his second tour on duty, and he hit a roadside bomb. It left him with no arm. He lost his left arm above the elbow, and he lost his left leg above the knee. Double whammy. Ouch. And yeah, he talks about how he went through depression, I'm sure. he's a soldier, and all of a sudden he's not a soldier anymore. But, what he went through, how he overcame it, very, very powerful. And, of course, we tie everything into wrestling too, and how that affects, superstars that have ended their career. So,
and now he's a champion for veterans.
Yes.
He's out there,
Yes.
Bringing more awareness to mental health and helping veterans who are coming back. So Noah is fighting the good fight.
Oh, my God. Amazing. Wow. I love this guy. Definitely love this guy. So I invite you to join us next week for that and let everybody know about that because, expand and give yourselves a chance to listen to somebody that you might not even know who they are. But I'm telling you, there's stories in every one of us, So for now, like I said, just make sure that you write those reviews for those prizes. And go to @Lilian Garcia on Instagram and Twitter. Go to Lilian Garcia official fan page. Make sure the reviews are written on Apple Podcast. And make sure that you visit Podcast One. Those are people that have been asking that they have Androids. They're like, how do we get the show if we don't have Apple Podcasts? Well, all you have to do is go to podcastone.com or the Podcast One app. There's many ways that you can find us. But for now, thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Make sure that you, walk around with much peace, love, and passion. Remember to always be yourself and trust that it's enough. Happy Halloween.